Recently, I made some changes in my portfolio to take a more defensive stance in the current environment of what I see as an overvalued stock market. Today, I'm going to share with you what those decisions were in the hopes that maybe they can help you out. In 2016, I put about 85% of my liquid assets into two stocks, and then I promptly ignored them for almost 8 years. Looking back, it turned out pretty well, and this might turn out to be my most superior management style. Time will tell. In about October of last year, I started to notice that the valuations were becoming very high. Started to look into the Shiller PE ratio, and I noticed that the ratio at the time was the third highest in history. The only two other times that it was higher was in the dot-com, leading up to the dot-com bubble, and then in July of 2021. The more I looked into it, the more I felt comfortable moving into a more defensive stance. This was also confirmed for me because my largest holding by far was and is Apple Corporation. So I began to look into what Warren Buffett was doing with his Apple shares, as it was also his largest holding. I noticed that over the last several quarters he was selling a significant amount of his shares. And in fact, at the time of this recording, he's now sold about 60% of his shares. Now, the reasons he uses for selling his shares is the same reasoning that I used to start selling some of mine. He cites the fact that Apple had become quite a dominant portion of his portfolio through appreciation, and that he was simply going through the exercise of portfolio rebalancing. Now, I also saw this in my situation, and likely what he was thinking when he selected Apple to use as a position to pare down is that when he bought Apple in 2015 and when I was buying Apple in 2016, it had a PE ratio of about 15. Fast forward to today, where Apple is enjoying a premium PE ratio of about 38. And so when positions, even good ones, become overvalued to that degree, they become a high candidate for us to look at selling and rebalancing our portfolio with. And so that's what I did. I sold 1/3 of my Apple shares, and I may sell up to half. In addition, I also sold 1/4 of my Visa shares, as this company is also currently trading at a PE ratio of around 36. In both cases, they had appreciated significantly for me over that 8-year span and generated a fair amount of cash through the process of selling them. The proceeds from these sales generated about a 35 to 40% cash position in my portfolio now. As previously stated in another video, I do think that there are pockets of value still to be had in this overvalued environment. And so I used about 15% of that cash to redeploy into a sector of the market that I felt held good value. I may make another video for you discussing where exactly that sector is and which stocks I redeployed that capital into. Overall, the idea was to take a more defensive stance in my portfolio, and I've done that by retaining about 25% in cash as opposed to 0% before. And 15% of that cash that I redeployed into companies that have PE ratios of more like 6 or 7 in defensive industries that in my estimation are undervalued currently. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just me sharing my thoughts and what I've done. Your individual situation is going to be unique to you. If you like what we're talking about here, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps support what we're doing here, and it will also encourage me to make more videos. If I have gone ahead and discussed with you the individual stocks that I've rotated into recently, you'll be able to find that video here.